Chapter 20. Dessert. Butch McCall was stretched out on his new cot with his hands behind his head, a satisfied grin on his face, surrounded by his new friends, all of which had 8 arms and 2 tentacles. One down, he thought. A few more to go. Wolf, Laura, and the obnoxious reporter, Anna, Bertha, and maybe even Luther, Smith, and Phil, if he had the opportunity presented itself. Marty O'Hara had been easy to dispatch. Butch had just finished a perfectly broiled ribeye steak, rare, in the mess, and he had been thinking about getting some dessert when a haggard-looking Marty O'Hara pushed through the galley doors. Dessert could wait. He'd followed Marty up to the abandoned deck, watched him lean over the rail, and hit him squarely in the back with both hands. Butch hadn't even waited to hear the splash. He strolled back to his new home, Leopold's lab. He told Leopold that he'd had a falling out with his supervisor, and Leopold had been delighted to take the gentle Dr. O'Connor on as his assistant. Butch had suggested they move a cot into the lab so he could monitor the filtration system 24/7. If it weren't for the rotten fish smell, the lab would have been perfect. Butch found the bluish light from the aquariums and the squid jetting through the salt water relaxing. He was growing quite fond of the squid and was thinking about removing calamari from his diet entirely. It seemed a shame to eat such an efficient predator. They were opportunistic, just like Butch had been when he'd caught Marty leaning over the rail. By now, the sharks were gulping the boy down. Or perhaps a giant squid he had found him, pulled him into the deep, and was tearing him apart with its beak. With this pleasant picture in mind, Butch closed his eyes and fell asleep.